Radio Free Cybertron.
Transformers.
Rewind.
This week on Transformers Rewind, it's Enter the new Supreme Commander, Diatlas, or you can just call it Zone. The mysterious Violent Jagger assembles his crew of Destron generals to destroy the planet Feminia. Supreme Cybertron Commander Victory Saber and his troops arrive to save the planet. In the course of planet-wide destruction, Victory Saber is left missing, and we are introduced to Kai and Musa, a boy and a flying rabbit thing. Falling prey to the Decepticon, or Destron, lust for energy, Violent Jagger commands his generals to obtain the Autobots' energy source, Energon Z, and the Zodiac, which was somehow used to create the universe. Kai and Musa are brought to the science planet Zone, where there are plenty of Micromasters but no flowers. After some exposition about the history of Zone, which was created by the Cybertron-powered masters, the Destron generals attack and steal the Energon Z. The Cybertrons are not so pleased.
つまんないな。ゾウには花一本ない。
だってここは超科学惑星なんだもの。
ムーンレーダーたち寂しくないのかな。
別にそんなことは。
エムさね、メカじゃないのよ。血の通った生き物なんだもの。時には花や自然を見たいの。
おいおい、僕たちも生き物だぜ。超ロボット生命体だよ。
そんなこと言うなよ、エムさん。
デフコン1戦闘開始。皆殺しだ。ジェットパトロールチーム攻撃。
Diatlas and Sonic Bomber return from their search for Victory Saber, bringing the wounded commander back safely but badly injured. The Micromasters, meanwhile, have already arrived on the planet just in time to save a young child named Akira, who befriends Kai, really, as the Micromasters do the best they can to hold off the generals. In the nick of time, Diatlas and Sonic Bomber arrive. Lots of fighting, exploding, and cleaving into two happens in the course of retrieving Zodiac.
おっと、このソニックボンバーが相手をしてやるぜ。死ねー。我々の装甲ギアに貴様らの銃は通じぬわ。トランスフォーム。転んだ。痛い。
For some reason, Victory Saber hands over leadership of the Cybertrons to Diatlas in a ceremony full of pomp, circumstance, and Musa. Find out more in the next episode of Zone. Oh, wait. Never mind.
Yes.
私はサイバトロンを代表してパワードマスターダイアトラスを新総司令官に任命する。 サイバトロン新総司令官に就任したダイアトラスは自らの心に固く誓った。邪悪なデストロンから宇宙を守り、愛する友と銀河に美しい平和な楽園を築くことを。
So, Zone is one of those weird things that it really colored my opinion of what the Japanese alignment for G1 was, because I caught this before I caught Headmasters. So in my mind, like, Headmasters, Master Force, and Victory were all leading up to this, which is really sad.
And not really...
not even really true.
Not in the slightest.
No. So what do you guys think about this episode? Do you like hold this in as high a regard as I do?
No. I'll just be straight up there. I mean, I didn't even watch this for the first time until like maybe a couple years ago.
You watched the dub, right?
Yeah, I have the dub downloaded, the fan dub.
That's a decent fan dub too.
It is actually a decent fan dub. So,
and I didn't want to watch it in prep for this, because I didn't want to sort of focus on the fact that it's a fan dub, because I don't want to get necessarily into that. I want to sort of more focus on the episode itself. Sure. Which what I love about this episode is it's so very anime. Like, if
it is,
oh,
yeah,
and far more than anything else that came out of Japanese G1.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
The thing about this that always just struck me was the Destron generals.
Call them Decepticons.
English. Yeah, I'm
English,
sorry.
Brian.
The Decepticon generals. So, and Violent Jagger, who's like this big ghost robot thing. But the generals were just always awesome, because it was like combiners and Tripticon, for some reason, who's the same size as they are, with capes and armor.
Yeah, because that's awesome.
It is awesome.
I mean, things like that are part of the reason. It's like Zone carries a strange little reputation. Zone and Scramble City are these two one-shot things which went around in a bootleg form that was actually accessible and understandable to fans for an awfully long time before Headmasters, Master Force, and Victory were. I mean, you had the Star TV dubs, but I mean, these, because they were only single half-hour episodes, you could understand them, and they didn't require a massive time commitment from you as a fan to watch all of them as well. So these are, I would say, like, you're far from being alone in being somebody who watched Victory before Headmasters. And I would say that even now there are still probably more fans who have seen Victory but not seen Headmasters than there are people who have seen both, regardless of whatever order they've seen them in. Even though Headmasters is out on DVD now, I would still bet that there are more people who have seen just Zone.
Probably. There's just a glut of Transformers episodes and, Transformers anime on YouTube. And just like you said, there's the big point for me, I was thinking earlier today, there's less time commitment. To really get into Headmasters, you have to watch all, 30 episodes? Something like
35.
that? Yeah, 35 episodes. So with this, I've watched this probably over the course of the last 15 years, like 20, 25 times.
Yeah. Well, but I think it speaks to something else too, because like you say, it's self-contained. It's also kind of violent. And,
oh yes.
So it's a little more. It seems a little more grown up in that way.
But there's also Imusa, who's a flying rabbit who loves nature.
Yeah. There's
and
that.
Kyr, who is Kane's pet thing. I can't remember what it's actually called, but it's annoying. It's so very annoying.
It's a rabbit thing.
Just a space rabbit.
I don't think there's a species name.
Yeah, it's a space rabbit.
So Chris, you'd mentioned that you actually wrote the TF Wiki article for this. I was reading the article today for the first time, and by God, I had no idea that Akira was a boy.
Oh, that's hilarious. Yeah. There's another way that this thing is so anime, It's just, I mean, obviously, like, if you watch anime at all, it's not at all unusual to find gay boys that look like girls. Not to put too fine a point on it or anything, but not an uncommon sight in anime. Totally strolled in out of the blue for Transformers. I never even drifted close to doing anything like this before. totally an anime staple, but just randomly, suddenly, plop into the middle of Zone.
I guess with Beast Wars in the dubs, Airazor is made out to be a boy, but they're not in a relationship. Is that?
I don't even know. I basically don't trust anything anyone ever said about that, because that was when people were trying to report news from Japan in the 90s, and we know what that was like. Okay, so all I believe is that Airazor was a boy.
Yeah.
That is literally all I believe. I don't know who said what until I can see some translated magazines.
But in manga, though, Kira was turned into a girl. It seems.
I don't think so. I think it was just drawn extra femmy.
Well, I mean, Kane is from Feminia, or his planet's basically like some sort of strange, feminine cognate.
Sure.
The name is there. I mean, Feminia puts in appearances actually as far back as the season 3 manga. It's weird like that. It keeps getting reference. I think there's a reference to it in the Headmasters cartoon as well. And then finally, like, the writer decided, you know what? Get this planet in here. And then when it came to Victory.
So I keep
calling it Victory.
Yeah, I never quite. Well, Star Saber, Victory Saber is. I mean, in here, that's the cool thing. That's the one thing I do kind of like about the Japanese continuity. There tends to be like characters who sort of float between. In this, but so I never quite got exactly, other than like saving the day. Why did Victory Saber or hand over leadership to Diatlas?
Because that was the new toy.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know what to tell you, Brian.
I believe the in-universe reason is that he's still very badly injured, and
he didn't get up. He just sort of sat in his chair and leaned over and shook his head.
That chair looks more like some kind of wheelchair than a throne to me.
I mean, and that's cool. That's cool. I appreciate that. But we never got more than the one episode. Nothing ever came about.
Didn't it? It went to manga after this, though. Didn't it?
Not manga, but this episode is adapted into manga form. Actually, it was released a few months before the cartoon, the manga version of it. But there are like prose text and like big page illustrations that continue the story. Actually, there's some story before this, and then continue the story on after it as well, and bring it to a conclusion. And you do find out what the deal is with all that. And all that's translated actually over on the Allspark at TF Pulp. So if you go over there, you can read what happened next in the Zone story.
So this was the last animated G1 series episode. So like the stuff from Return of Convoy, that was entirely manga. That was TV Magazine, I think, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, that was all the story pages, they call them. It was just big splash page illustrations and little passages of text, not even manga,
Other than Return of Convoy, was there any other like Japanese G1 series that popped up? Was that Operation Combination? Yes. Okay. So
that was it then, and then it was into G2.
Cool. Yeah. This episode means a lot to me, especially for like just the violence. It was Predator King, right? That got like
that gets half
right in two, and you can see his brain and
bifurcated.
Everything. Yeah, bifurcated exactly. That just like stuck with me for so long. I'm like, wow, this is awesome and adult. It's awesome, maybe not adult.
Like, man, now I don't need to buy that toy anymore.
Yeah, it's true. But I guess Violent Jagger, though, never really quite understand what he is or how he operates or his point.
Leash Maximum.
Yeah, sure.
He is an entity formed from the ghosts of many dead Decepticons. I shit you not.
That's cool. That's kind of cool.
Yeah. I mean, this is the thing about Zone, is that if you just jump up and watch Zone and bypass all the other Japanese G1 stuff, it is a great showcase for how friggin' weird Japanese G1 got by the end of it. Because it's actually a fairly gradual process, the weirdness. There's not much in the way of story continuity, aside from the fact that Star Saber's there at the start of it. But the weirdness is a gradually escalating thing with your little space bunnies and you take Master Force, where you have some sort of weird alien life form was the leader of the Decepticons. And the idea that some kind of weird alien life form would lead them again was in Return of Convoy as well.
Yeah.
And this is just another link in the chain of weird, ghosty, supernatural creatures who play the role of Emperor of Destruction instead of that. And, the stuff with the Zodiac, the power that created the universe, and then it combines with Energon Z to transform Diatlas and Sonic Bomber into base modes. And it's... Yeah.
Wow. Because it has to interact with the Micromasters, That's
it's nice to get Micromasters in animation form that's not like a commercial.
There was little in the way of that kind of, cosmic burning power up from on high, Heart of Justice stuff going on. Even in a lot of the animes, you get the Headmaster's weird cross head on power of friendship formation stuff, head formation, and God Jinrai does his Godfire guts and everything, and Star Saber doesn't really have one. He doesn't really have a magic thing, but he's just constantly filled with burning courage. But this was this is one of the most flat out, strangely supernatural elements out of Japanese Transformers fiction, given that they never had, the comics, of course, the American comics had gone full on gods, demons, and magic long before this. Well, not long before it, I suppose, just a couple of years before that, But this was, I think, the thoroughly strangest that Japanese Generation 1 ever got. Actually, there's been a lot of stuff added to the Japanese G1 canon even since, but few things that have been added are as weird as Zone was.